I don't like a political entity that's acting like a homicidal psychopath. The 17th of the month, this moon is conjunct Chiron, the wounded healer. I'm honoring the fact that we have a moon in the sign of orange. It's the sign of Aries, Mars's sign. Mars is an orange planet. Saturn is a bit of the boss of this lunation, as well as Mars. I'm wearing orange and I'm drinking orange tea. Yes, you see what my mug says. We have one of the most intense new moons of 2026. It's the Aries lunation at 27 degrees that's happening on the 17th of the month of April. I'm telling you guys, it is what I would call a humdinger of a lunation. It has so much intensity, partly because it's connected to an eclipse that occurred back in 2023 in Aries as well. So there's a return to the same spot in the sky where now we have a new moon within 2 degrees of where we had an eclipse back in spring of 23. So we're going to get that eclipse reverb, you know, that reverb thing. So a boomerang effect. And so we're going to feel some themes that began from that eclipse, which I'll address for world events and in our own lives, are coming to a kind of a bookend. Now, when I say bookend, I mean like, you know, one side and the other, the alpha and the omega. There's a closure to this new moon, to the way we experienced our reality beginning in April, on the 19th of April, 2023, to this very moment, the 17th of the month, 2026 of April. So we'll talk about how that might look for your sign as well. This moon is conjunct Chiron, the wounded healer, but I've already done a very deep dive into that wounded healer conjunction. And if you want to go ahead and look at that video, it came out about a couple of weeks ago, and I will put a description box link to it below and all of that, and maybe in the comments, and maybe I could get a video editor to go ping, you can go find that one here, but don't worry about it, because honestly, you want to listen to that because I cover the wounded self and the healing of the wounded self, and really what that means for you and the world. And then for the world, it's the wounds of war. But in this video today, we're talking about something different. We're going to really draw more depth from that eclipse bookend that we're having. So we're going to bring that to your attention for your sun, moon, and rising. I want to lean a little bit in to the Egyptian terms or bounds, because this is happening in the bound or term of Saturn, which means Saturn is a bit of the boss of this lunation, as well as Mars, who owns the kingdom of Aries and will be in his Aries kingdom, watching this new moon happen in his sign. So we got some energy of both Mars and Saturn having a significant game playing role in how this moon will turn out. And then lastly, I want to bring it to your attention a little bit more depth about the Sabian symbol, which is a large disappointed audience, because I really think because we have two whistleblower or disclosure asteroids activated on the moon, Askalaphus and Okyrhoe. Okyrhoe is right on the moon, and I'll talk more about what they mean. Askalaphus is also connected to this moon in a trine from Leo. And Askalaphus is on the ascendant of the president of the United States. So this whole whistleblower thing, and asteroid Zeus is on the moon as well. This whole whistleblower story, disclosure story is huge in this lunation. So the 17th of the month, maybe a day or two before, certainly up to 2 weeks after, whistleblowers, and maybe from women. Okay, why women? Well, a lot of reasons, but Okyrhoe is also a female story. It's a woman prophet seer who broke the rules of the gods and told something she wasn't supposed to and was punished for it. And I'll dive a little deeper into that when I show you the chart. So in the collective, we're expecting some whistleblowing stories, and we're deeply, deeply going to see a bookend of something that began in 2023. I'm going to talk about that too. Now, if you're new to my channel, hi, welcome. My name is Lori Lothian. We're covering your sign today. So you're going to be listening for your sun, moon, and rising. And this is Western tropical zodiac, not sidereal or Vedic astrology. And in today's video, as all of us do here on YouTube, we have to assume the whole sign house system in order to make general delineations for your sun, moon, and rising. So please cast your chart in whole sign houses. my free video tutorial is below. And I tell you why it's a better house system as well. And you know something? My free tutorial allows you to use free software and do the whole thing. I get so many comments because people are confused because they're looking at their Placidus chart or another quadrant-based house system. And I'm always in the comments going, guys, we're using whole sign houses. The ancient tradition of whole sign houses still used in Indian and Vedic astrology today because it works and we can use Time Lords for it. Now, all of that said, your sun sign is your core true self. I'm wearing orange and I'm drinking orange tea. Yes. Why? Because I am, look at my new mug, because I'm honoring the fact that, yes, you see what my mug says. I'm honoring the fact that we have a moon in the sign of orange. It's the sign of Aries, Mars's sign. Mars is an orange planet. It's not really that red. It looks orange to me. So I'm trying to theme out here with the guys, with the vibe of that. And these beautiful bracelets, go check below. This is, you know, what do you call them? Otter Spirit. And you get a discount code with me. Love their jewelry. They deliver it straight to my door to share with you guys. A special code for you guys in the description box. Your sun is your true self. It's in Aries, okay, right now. But your sun, when you were born, is your true self. And that solar energy is who you really are. And it represents career and purpose. So moon is how you think and feel about your life. Maybe your mother as well. Like the sun can be dad. And then it's also how you might see your life through the lens of safety, security, home, and nest, and material basic needs. And then when we move to your ascendant, if this is a simulation, like a video game, then the ascendant is your avatar or video game character, right? That you're playing, like in Mario Brothers. Your sun is the game player. Or if this is a movie, the sun is the actor and the simulation, the movie character, like this, somebody wrote a character called, you know, the character in the movie, Forrest Gump. That is your rising sign. Often your rising sign is extraordinarily accurate between the ages of 7 and 45. Before the age of 7, after 45, for a lot of people, your sun sign will begin to wake up. I'm not going to explain why in today's video. Take some classes with me. And if you want to learn how to time your best life using divine timing tools for advanced beginner or intermediate astrologers, so advanced timing tool class, 5 weekends in May, you can take one module or all 5. They're happening shortly. And if you look in my description box, you'll find a link to the website and information about signing up. And by the time you get this video, there still might be an early bird code or an early bird pricing. I'm not sure. I'm recording this on April 11th, but if not, it's still quite affordable. So see below and see if you want to jump aboard. Come study astrology and learn how to use the map of time. All right, guys. So first of all, I've been doing a lot of oracle work lately. I don't know, like I've been like pulling my floor. You can't see it. It's full of a tarot card spread on my rug. I have been diving deeply into my decks of oracle cards. And I think I've been doing that because primarily I'm really looking for some guidance. So this is one of my favorite pieces of jewelry. It is actually a pendant, and I wear it around my neck sometimes, and I'm in a restaurant, I can pull it out. And it's by Coppertus Woo. I have a link underneath my videos for all of their stuff at a pretty significant discount. It's quite, what do you call it? All of their stuff is quite beautiful, but quite exotic. This is very Game of Thrones. And so in front of you today, I'm going to ask the pendulum. My forward is a yes, sideways is a no for me, okay? I'm going to ask the pendulum. I want to sort of brace myself a bit so I'm not like wobbly. I'm going to ask the pendulum if Donald Trump will be somehow removed from power or too ill to stay in power by the end of April. I've been having a lot of feelings about that, okay? And I had a dream about Donald Trump. I only dreamt about Donald Trump, I'm going to just a minute, one time in my life, the night he was elected. I'd cast a horary chart on a Sunday. The election was on a Tuesday. I told my partner I was scared to put it out. I had it all locked and loaded to drop on Monday morning. And in the horary, I said, it looks like Donald Trump will win the election. And I had been thinking it was Kamala until that very moment. But I pulled it out. And, you know, and it's never do that to myself again. I mean, people would have been angry at me for changing my prediction, but I would have at least called it. And the point is that the night of the election, I went to bed early in Vancouver, Canada, probably around 10 o'clock, 11. And at 4 a.m-ish, maybe, I woke up from a dream, 3 a.m. And in the dream, Donald Trump was with me, talking to me. And there was a big party, and I was around the party as everyone was celebrating that he won. And I got up and talked to my partner, James, who's an American who was staying with me at the time. And I said, Oh my God, I just dreamt Donald Trump won. He said, because he was up before me and he had been checking the news. This is like now the morning time, and he had won. So the second dream I had of Donald Trump was just recently, 3 or 5 nights ago. I wrote it in my dream journal, and he was explaining to me it was going to be the end of the U.S. presidency, that there's something was going to happen in the United States. So we have an election. You guys have an election, 2028. Something's going to happen where it's not going to go the way it normally does. So the end of the presidency. Now, what happened in the dream is he was going kind of like wink, wink, nod, nod, because it was like maybe like I was talking to a spirit, and it was kind of the vibe of it's all a game and I'm here to disrupt everything, something like that. I'm not a fan of Donald Trump, and I'm not an enemy of Donald Trump, and I am Canadian, but that's the dream. Now, because I don't know what that can mean, I can't imagine the US presidency is not going to be here, right? I can imagine the uniparty won't be here, that Democrats and Republicans may not be the only party on the ticket, like Elon Musk wanted to start his own party. But the other option is that what it really represents is the amount of power that the presidents have in the executive branch, which has been increasingly overriding congressional approval over the years, with people even saying that Donald Trump has got to dictator level or whatever, tyrant level. And it's possible that what I'm actually seeing in the dream is a complete congressional, like, okay, a blue wave, right? And the midterms and stuff, and the power of the Senate and the Congress going to the Democrats, and then a forced revision and revisal of the amount of power a president can hold. There's, Congress is supposed to vote on going to wars, right? That never happened, right? In all of the military things that have been going on in the United States over the years, including the current situation in Iran. All right. So is Donald Trump somehow going to be ousted from power, let's say I'm going to go for mid-May. Okay. But I do still think based on his chart right now, it's very dangerous for him right now. I'm going to do your sign, I promise. He's got like the Mars, Saturn, Mercury triple conjunction in a very difficult aspect to his Mercury in the house of hospitals. Mercury is a ruler of the sun, which is his vital force, life energy. All right. I'm closing my eyes to see if by mid-May, somehow, some way, Donald Trump is no longer sitting in the Oval for whatever reason. Of course, that would mean Vance is in the Oval, right? Well, I can't believe it, but I almost never get a pendulum that doesn't want to swing either way. Okay, I'm going to go with timelines. I have not determined yet what's going on. I drew a card today from my dear friend Renee Baribeau's Wind Wisdom Oracle about the vibe of the moon, and I got the card Sovereignty, a Hungarian female goddess of the wind, and it's called, I can't say her name. I'm not going to even try. All right, I'm not going to try. This wind she's a shaman, Renee, practical shaman. But these are beautiful cards. And it says, request with reverence yields power. So reverent petitions to the divine can yield power. And I also say, this is a card, when I read the book, that it's associated, there's a guidebook, with chaos and really gale force strength of change, right? So what kind of chaos and gale force strength of change may happen in the collective in the 2 weeks that follow this moon? The second thing about it is that it's a female goddess wind. And I still think a woman is going to whistleblow. And in our own lives, where can we be more sovereign? Because actually the sun exalts itself in the sign of Aries, and Aries is the I am. What is your unique signature, fingerprint, iris print? You have one way of being that no one else has. And that originality of I amness, that individuality of it, is very Aries, right? Aries represents the baby. And we all have some sense that we are an autonomous sovereign entity. Our soul is that. And the sun exalted in Aries is reminding us, where is our sovereign self? And that sovereignty to me means, where am I on the throne of my own power? Where am I sitting in the seat of my own power? And so I'm asking all of us to look at this moon and go, where am I in or off or not on the throne of my own sovereign power, attached to the very nature of my spirit or my soul? And if you feel that has been lacking in your life, your I am is not an expression of that infinite part of you, then perhaps this moon, being so potently aligned with an Aries stellium, with Mercury and Mars and Saturn and Neptune, the sun and the moon all together, can catalyze, and Chiron can catalyze an alignment with each of us in each of our lives with our true essence in relationship to our outer expression, the light we shine in the world. That this little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine, right? That is solar energy. And this is redefining your I am nature. We haven't had a stellium like this, I don't think, since 1991. We haven't had Mars and Saturn getting ready to co-join here since 1998 and 1968. So we have a quality of rarity, and that conjunction between Mars and Saturn is going to happen a mere 2 to/3 days after the moon. Right? I'm going to show you the chart. We're going to roll through some more world stories. Now, I'm always at risk of being banned, shadow banned, demonetized if I say certain words. I'm trying to find new words. When I say a wasp nest nation in the ME is Middle East, okay? A wasp nest is a small thing that goes out stinging everything around it, right? Aggressive little buzzing insects. Someone actually commented recently that the nation of Iran isn't that. Of course it's not. It's a giant country, and it doesn't go around stinging everybody around it or decimating everyone around it. But so we're going to call it the wasp nest nation. Okay. So the wasp nest nation is extraordinarily tied to this lunation. It's in the house of open enemies for that nation, and it ties to the eclipse in 2023. That eclipse at 29 degrees of Aries in April 19th of 2023 was activated. And because it's a solar eclipse, it lasts for about a year. Well, what happened between April 19th of 2023 and a year? The war in Gaza. And that situation is also the beginning of something that involved this country, the wasp nest country. This moon on the eclipse point within 2 degrees, even less, is literally going to be the bookend. It's closing the chapter in that situation, not just Gaza, but the West Bank and all of the wasping out that that little country is doing, taking chunks of land that belong to its neighbors. And I want to make it really clear that I don't like that country. I love the people who have Judaic faith, who practice the Torah. That's a whole different ballgame than saying I don't like a political entity that's acting like a homicidal, psychopathic, rogue, pariah country. So live it or like it or not, that's my stance. I don't know if you know that in 1948, during the Nakba, 15,000 Palestinians were slaughtered, their wells were poisoned, and 500 of their villages were just taken from them and renamed in another language. Yes, Hebrew. So if you think that was okay, if that was okay to you and those displaced people became the citizens of the West Bank and Gaza, then I don't want you on my channel because there's something wrong with you. All right. Now, this thing that began, okay, what we're talking about, because I'm going to show you the chart in a minute, because I want to talk about your chart. I want to talk about Okyrhoe and the whistleblowers that's going to impact the United States, specifically going to impact Donald Trump. But in terms of the war situation, it is literally a condition in which we see that the wasp nest nation, April 19th, 2024, eclipse at 29 degrees of Aries, out a year. And then we had more Aries eclipses. That was a whole time in which that country decided with its Prime Minister Ariel Sharon that they were going to remove themselves from Gaza. They had 21 villages in Gaza and they were going to take it out. And in fact, the Prime Minister Ariel said no Jews in Gaza. That's a quote. And as he announced this in 2024 and into 2025, but it was mostly happening in 2004, off that new moon into spring of 25, that was rolling through. It was an eclipse, just about like we had in 2023. The other thing that happened is there were land grabs because there were people, the settlers, who were really angry. And so, well, the villages pulled out. They also were massively grabbing land. And the second thing I want to mention about that is that the back end story was it stalled the two-state solution. All of the talks about a two-state solution on the pullout of the illegal settlements, the 21 illegal settlements that were in Gaza, it led to the end of the two-state solution conversation. And so there was really like, oh, isn't this so great? The settlers are moving out. No, because it was actually kind of a bait and switch. So there's that. That's what I read. That's how I did some research on how it all washed out. Okay. Now, this is the same story, right? We're bookending the end of it. Same thing happened back then. What began in April of 2024 closed out in 3 years later. in April of 2000 and so for 5, 6, 7. Okay. So those 3 years were all about Gaza, the West Bank. And in fact, there was one of the most brutal, more as brutal as 1967 incursions in 2006 into Gaza, and they called it Operation Summer Rains, and it literally was a slaughterhouse. So the wasp nests went into Gaza and did a slaughter just like they did in 1967. So what I'm trying to tell you in essence is that 2004 April to 2007 April is a lot like 2023 April to April of 2026. We're in a similar little storyline. And so we're closing a chapter that began it back then. And of course, right now, we'll see what happens in the Middle East, but it's not just about the one piece of land. It's about the whole greater Israel expansion project coming to a closure, or a bookend of some kind. Whew. This is a moon in the house of open enemies for the country, the Libra rising country that is a wasp's nest in the Middle East. And Iran has its sun at 11 degrees of the sign of Aries, which means it's leadership. And so it's also connected to that ongoing situation at this time as well. Although it wasn't particularly like that in 2004 to 2007, it will bring the Iranian story right into this moon. Major changes 2 to 3 days before the moon, 2 weeks after, in that particular conflagration. There is a very fragile ceasefire right now. Vance is, as I record, gone off to talk to everybody about it, I think in Islamabad, in Pakistan. There are two factions in the United States, the technocrats and the tech bros, and Vance is a part of that with Teal, and Teal's got the surveillance state technology. And then there's the Zionist one, the religious ones on the MAGA side, right, on Trump's end of it all. And so there's really two factions within the Republican movement at this time, and Vance is representing the other one. So it's very much a chart for J.D. Vance and for Trump that looks like before the next election, for some reason, Vance will step into the seat in the Oval Office. He will take power. Okay. That's one of my firmest predictions. If it doesn't happen, I'd be shocked, very shocked. All righty. Now we're moving on. And we finished that story. And I want you to know that this is what this moon is about. It's about that wasp nest country. It doesn't have to be just one place, West Bank, Gaza, or Syria, or South Lebanon. Lebanon, Virgo rising. Every time Lebanon has eclipses through Virgo, and we had a 29-degree Virgo eclipse back in the fall in September, it gets pummeled by its nasty neighbor. Okay. So it's getting pummeled by its nasty neighbor who's demolishing and bombing civilian infrastructure and whole apartment buildings. And that means people, little people as well, are getting unalived. All righty. The other thing I want to talk about as we move forward about this particular lunation, because I'm ready to roll in another direction pretty soon. There's something called the lunar shadows technique, and you can kind of roll the chart back every 9 months. So here we have a new moon. Go back 9 months before. We had a last quarter moon in Aries. Go 9 months back. Okay, we had another action in Aries. So here's what I want to tell you. If I roll back the storyline, which I did, right, I wanted to see what was happening in the past. And I went to the last quarter moon at 25 Aries on July the 17th, right? And I rolled that back. And I was looking for events that were occurring in the world. And I rolled it even further back to the full moon of October 17th, 2024. We see those things are connected as well. Obviously, the full moon of October 17th, 2024, connected to a extended ceasefire time frame that was happening in the fall of 24, where there was an attempt to broker a ceasefire, and Israel was breaking it constantly, and to get aid trucks in. I do remember that. And then there also was something that was happening on July 17th of 2025 with a quarter moon at 25 Aries. And I wrote it down, and lo and behold, where did I put it? Let me go look at my notes, because I thought, oh yeah, that's a bookend and a half. Now I can't remember. Okay. But if you were to do the research and you went to July 17th and add a couple of weeks or so, or just around July 17th, within 2 or 3 days on either side of it, that last quarter Aries moon, well, and really specifically the 17th, will give us a news story that will connect to the situation with the Wasp Nest Nation. In fact, I think I'll just do that myself right now. I'm going to just check it out. Will I stop the recording? Last time I stopped the recording, guess what I did, guys? I completely forgot to start it again. I recorded a whole half hour on Monday's drop, the one behind us now, and I had to do it all over again. And that really was painful. So I'm not going to stop the recording, but I'm just going to type in front of you and you won't see it. July 17th, 2025, we had a quarter moon, last quarter moon in Aries at 25 degrees, 2025. And we're going to say 2025, and I'm going to ask a question. News, Waspmas Nation, starts with an I. All right, and I'm going to add the word war. All right, what happened back then? Okay. Am I on the right time frame? July. Are you ready? Are you ready for this? Are you ready? Are you ready for this? Wounded Palestinians, including Father Gabriel Romanelli, are brought to the Al-something Baptist Hospital, Al-Ahil Baptist Hospital, after a strike on the Holy Family Church in eastern Gaza. Yeah, Tucker Carlson's always talking about Lebanon. It's a Christian nation, for God's sakes. And Gaza also has Christian sites. A strike on the Holy Family Church in eastern Gaza on July 17th, 2025. And there was, deeply regret it, right, says Israel. But that caused a big, and it killed 3 people. It caused a huge kerfuffle because, of course, even the Pope got into the mess, and Christians were like, what the hell? And so that's the vibe, right? So this ending moon is ending stories like this whole mass disaster called this demonic country in the Middle East, not the faith of people who practice following the laws of the Torah. That's completely different than a political entity that is really, really, really acting like a psychopath. All right, so what we're going to do is I'm going to open up the chart for you. I do sometimes have extended members. I gave it to you. This is the kind of stuff I might go into more depth most times just for the members only here. My concern is always getting demonetized, deplatformed. I'm doing my best not to. So I gave it to you guys up front instead. But when you join my members only community here on YouTube, you get a lot more of this stuff, right? Where I talk freely about stuff and talk about it from the astrological perspective as well. All right. So we're going to talk about Okyrhoe. We're going to talk about Askalaphus, and we're going to talk about whistleblowing. Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. We're going to share the chart together, and we're going to go through your sign. Don't forget sun, moon, and rising. And I'm going to talk whistleblowers, and then we're going to go ahead and have some more fun. What time is it? I've got 45 minutes to whip through this with you because I have my friend Renee is going to come in and give us a little bit of a hello. And I'm going to put my little talk with Renee about how the winds work and all of that at the end of this video. So if you want to take a class with my dear friend Renee Baribeau, she's doing a 7-week class with the Shift Network, and it's going to be learning how to use prophetic guidance and divinatory tools, tuning into what she calls the wind work. And I think it'll be a lot of fun. I think I'll just take it just for fun. She's one of my friends, and 7 weeks long. And it really helps you with guiding your life through in connections to the natural energies of wind and winds in the world as they move through the world. Not just her cards, but the real winds. It's brilliant and it's groundbreaking, shamanistic and intuitive work. All right, so I will probably see you there. But if you want to know more about the course with my friend Renee at the Shift Network, there'll be a link in the description box below to sign up. And you can also listen to the interview with her at the very end, where we're just going to talk for 10 minutes about her work and what she's offering you guys if you want to go. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like this kind of content. It really does help the channel grow. It is a once in a lifetime kind of vibe here, guys. This stellium, it's once in a lifetime because Chiron will only get back here in 59 years, let alone the Mars Saturn conjunction, which happened in 68 and 1998 and gave a two-year reset story for each of us. So I wanted to say that why I think there's a whistleblower for the world, and I'm pretty convinced we're going to have a massive disclosure of some kind. And don't forget, we have a large disappointed audience in the Sabian symbol. So it's who's going to be disappointed with what performer or leader. So this is what I'm thinking is about a leader, Zeus, that's Zeus, wounded leader, Chiron, wounded leader. Okay, there's a wounded Zeus leader. Sun, exalted leader, moon, beginning something new, dark moon, a wounded leader. This is a moon that's happening here in the last part of Aries. It's bound 25 to 29 degrees of Aries is called the Egyptian term or bound of Saturn. So Saturn's got some rulership over this piece of land, this Aries house land, but also Mars is the lord of Aries and rules the moon. Mars is at home in dignity. Mars cuts, ends, and severs. Saturn is fallen. So some fallen energy here as well. So we could say a leader falls from power, right? Is wounded and falls from power. Mars is in his dignity. And by the way, he's visible. We can see him. And Saturn is also visible in the sky. And Mercury is also visible in the sky. It's going to be really cool if you get it before the sun to look up 3 planets there. And, Mars is orangey or reddy orange. And Saturn has kind of got a brown tinge, a rusty brown. And then if, Mercury looks like a little bright, like twinkling star, a lot like Venus. But it's smaller. So if you want to get up and look for that, you can see that triple conjunction, which is perfectly exact on the 19th, 20th forming. But more importantly, what I'm trying to get at is that Mars is trying his best to do Mars well, right? How do you do Mars well? You're a hero rescuing someone from the fire. You're cutting a surgeon. You're cutting off the gangrene limb to save the body. Mars well. You're an emergency rescue technician person, EMT, saving a life. Mars well. You're heroically defending your country against marauders who are trying to kill everyone, including your children. Mars well. Mars will not well. Homicidal maniac, mass shooter, demented psychopathic marauding killer. Right? Mars unwell. That's Mars unwell. Unwell Mars isn't what I'm seeing here. I don't think this is an unwell Mars because he's not in bad shape. He's in his home kingdom. The worst I can say, he's dealing with a fallen Saturn, which can mean that there may be a lack of maturity or realism for him, but he's still in command. And he tells Saturn what to do. And he also tells the new moon what to do. And he tells Mercury what to do. And Mercury usually dispenses news. Now, Mercury and Mars together can be in this Neptune lineup, the movement of goods and services, commercial traffic across seas, right? Mars is in that sign of seas. So we will see things to do with the changes to the war connected to the Strait of Hormuz based on this new moon, based on Mars's position. So there will be like a turning of the story from where it is now to where it will be. Iran, as an 11-degree sun and 17-degree Leo rising, by the way, will do well in this war because it's more likely that Mars, the war god himself, in this place of the sun of Iran, will favor Iran because he's in his home kingdom. So I think Iran comes out looking better than it did before the war, and mostly they'll get to pay tariffs, like the Strait of Hormuz will become like the Suez Canal, and people will have to pay to have traffic move through that part of the world where a lot of the world's energy moves through, oil and fertilizer supply. All righty. The other thing I want to notice for everyone here, please pay attention to this. Okyrhoe. Now, Okyrhoe is quite an interesting story. Let me click her for you. You can read it too, maybe. The daughter of centaurs Chiron and Okyrhoe, born with a gift of prophecy. And when she revealed something the gods wanted to keep hidden about the eventual death of her dad, she was transformed into a horse mid-sentence, and so she couldn't reveal the truth. A gift of foresight, lessons to be learned about when to speak and when to keep silent. So who wants to speak about the king, Zeus, and reveal something hidden from view? And can that person do it, or should they keep their mouth shut? Well, if Tulsi Gabbard's going to speak, she's got her sun, Mars, and Mercury in Aries, then she may speak because she's been fired, or speak and then get fired, because there will be a punishment for speaking the truth or speaking what somebody knows. At the same time, right, this energy, 26 degrees of Aries, which is very close to Tulsi's sun, Mars, Mercury combination in Aries. And I think Tulsi Gabbard's a Leo rising based on a cursory rectification. We'll see that this energy here, the Okyrhoe here at 28 degrees of Aries, is literally going to flow to a fire trine to Askalaphus on Donald Trump's ascendant. Askalaphus, son of Aries, the king, king of the Minyans, like the Minotaur, the Minyans, one of the Argonauts, was killed by a spear during the Trojan War. So it's about death by spear. It's on Trump's ascendant. A spear can be anything. It doesn't have to be a real, thing that hits you. It could be like a death by the spear, a reveal, truth, revelations, disclosures, and whistleblowing. learning when to be silent and when to be discreet and when to reveal the truths. The urge to become a whistleblower, revealing inconvenient truths, spying, and eavesdropping. So people who have strong Leo placements, Erica Kirk, probably Tulsi Gabbard, J.D. Vance, and Donald Trump, for example. Alrighty, so those are people that are highlighted. And the nation of Iran at 17 degrees of Leo based on the revolution chart. So all of the things to do with whistleblowing, okay, inconvenient truths revealed, or somebody literally, because it's on Trump's body, your ascendant, and it's about death by spear, there can be some troubles there for him as well. So I hope that's useful and it makes sense to you guys. And I don't remember Tulsi Gabbard's exact degree of her Aries, but why don't I just grab her chart for us? It wouldn't hurt, right, Gabbard? Because I think she's pretty close to this prophetic seer who wants to tell the truth, but Zeus gets mad and turns her into a horse. Oh, Gabbard. I have no alphabetical order. I don't know if you can see me strolling and trolling through here. Gabbard. E, F, G. I have terrible alphabetical order dyslexia. And that comes from probably my ADD and my autism. Only now is it cool to be autistic, but I'm sure that for a lot of people here have been dealing with late onset diagnosis or late life. Yeah. All right. Come on, Gabbard, where are you? Did I change? Oh, I changed it. Okay, I am so sorry, guys. I have more than one client file and more than one famous person file, so I have to go to the correct one. Ay. Okay, now I've got it. So let's just take a look where her sun is, and then we're going to go into your sign. I promise, I get that you guys are eager. I'm just going to talk about the beginning and the ending, the alpha and the omega, right, of this cycle for you. Don't forget, watch my other video that I've already done. It takes me this long to troll through this story. And if I pause the recording and don't turn it back on, it's not worth it. So will you be patient and not mean to me? Because I can see people already making negative comments. All right, Tulsi Gabbard. Hallelujah. I rectified her. I hope this has got her rectified chart. Okay. I'm going to put her chart on the outside wheel. Okay. I'm 90% sure. Look at the white stripe in her hair. That's so Leo rising. Okay. FDFFF. She's a Leo rising. But it's not just on that. I looked at her life story. Her husband's, her marriages, her life. So you can see that Tulsi Gabbard has her Mars, Mercury, and Venus in Aries. And she's got this sun at 23 degrees and the new moon's at 27. That's within an orb of connection. It's connected to Zeus. It's connected to Okyrhoe. Okay, remember the female who couldn't tell the truth about the death of her dad, but she tried to because she could see it coming. So whatever Tulsi does, I mean, she's an intelligence person now, right? So she can see things before the world does because she has the intel on it. Maybe she wants to blow a whistle or speak out about something she's got intel on. Of course, that is something she can't usually do without getting, completely sent to jail or something. But there can be something about Tulsi intel, disclosures, whistleblowing. If she gets fired first, then she might just go straight out and try to get some information into the world, even if it could cost her a prison sentence. I don't know. We'll see. We shall see for sure what goes on. And also the other guy, Joe Kent, has Aries placements as well. He's got his Mars in Aries, for example, maybe even his sun. I can't remember right now. So we should say he also could be involved in this guy. I was focusing on Tulsi Gabbard because of the female energy of Okyrhoe. Alrighty, that's what we got there. We're going to do your sign. Let's get rolling. And let's talk about this story. There's the old whistleblower Askalaphus up here in Tulsi Gabbard's chart. And if she is a Leo rising, it's going to be in her 6th house of work. So she'd be blowing the whistle connected to themes of work and workplace stories already from the perspective of a Leo rising. You can see why Trump liked her, right? Her sun was trining his ascendant and also trining his Sagittarius moon. So he would have felt like this is a person I get along with and I really like. All right, let's go ahead. I'm going to stop the share as I transition to your sign. Please check out Renee Baribeau's course. This is an amazing deck. I love it. I play with the wind cards all of the time. It's one of my favorites. But you're not learning how to use the cards. You're learning how to use all these shamanic tools for guiding your life using what she calls wind work. She'll be at the very end of this video in a 10-minute to 15-minute convo talking about the course, and the link to the Shift Network course, which starts April 28th, is in the description box. Come to my Divine Timing Masterclass, hit the like button and subscribe. Let's start with your sign. Go back and watch the original video because I cover the chironic wounded healing thing. But today we're talking instead, not about whistleblowers. I doubt any of us are going to whistleblow. But remember how we drew the sovereign card from Renee's deck? Zeus is sitting on the moon, and Zeus is the king of Mount Olympus. So we're going to talk about where you can be sovereign in your life. And I'm going to ask each of us to think about April of 2023 to this very moment, because you're closing out a chapter on something the eclipse cycle started for you way back when. I'm going to be very specific about what I think that was. Aries, sun, moon, and rising sign. It looks to me like you're going to be going through this sovereign king Zeus-like lunation. Good old Zeus is right there, stepping up in a level of authentic throneship power, your true seat of power in the 2 weeks that follow the moon. But also to remember your moon is a new beginning that can also unravel over 6 whole months. Back in 2023, in April, not only did we have an eclipse at 29 degrees of the sign of Aries, but we also still had the node of fate in the sign of Taurus. And what that indicated is that back then, a 2-year window of time, a 3-year window of time, God, I can't do math, through to right now, 2026, a 3-year window of time unfolded a story that's about making money, because Taurus is your second house of money, earnings, wallet, pocketbook, and possessions. And I want you to think about what new possessions that you have come into over the last 3 years, what new earning stories have emerged for you over the last 3 years, and what ways as well that you might have changed your dietary habits and food styles to improve your body and health. And maybe even, perhaps your own value system has changed slightly as well, because that's the second house narrative. And the increase of worldly success can be something many Aries establish in the 3 years that follow this bookend of the eclipse of April of 23 to the new moon on the same point in 2026. Not everyone will have that story, but many of you might be able to really lean in to remember and think about what has deeply changed. As this moon goes forward, you're also, as I mentioned in my other video, healing a chironic wound of identity that began in 2019. For the new moons in Aries, identities regarding home, nest, and where you live, perhaps. For you Aries suns, a wounded identity since 2019 regarding your professional directions in life. And if you're listening as an Aries rising, then it's, of course, your actual self. Like, I am what? I'm a wife, a mother. I'm an artist, a performer, whatever you are. The I am statements have been feeling off base or wounded. So this is also turning that around as well. Well, one other thing I want to mention as well is Chiron leaves your sign forever, for 49 years. In 2027, I think it's February. He will dip out in the summer, but I'll be doing a whole bunch of content on that. So like and subscribe to find about Chiron's movement into your second house as a change of pace. Why does that taste like I've got soap in my water? Yuck. The new moon does have a very beautiful sovereign quality for Aries, because the sun is also exalted in your sign. So it's not just the idea of sovereignty from a position of Zeus sitting there on the power throne, but also the fact that the sun in your sign as an Aries sun, right? Or moon or rising. I mean, this is the sun's exaltation. It's its best position. And so for you Aries folk, it's a game-changing lunation, guys. I do love Venus in the second house, second from the moon, fortifying and loving up your money there as well in the next 2 weeks after the moon. But it's a deeper story. Go back, what in the last 3 years has transpired to really shift and change significantly the way you resource your money. Remember how I gave you those early turning points back earlier, like July 17th of 2025, and going back further to October 17th of 2024. Those are also useful pivot points in the story of you relative to the story of resources financially. And if you were to go back to those dates I gave you roughly, like the October 17th new moon of 2024, add 2 weeks at least. So for me, for example, in 2024, my all signs bundle had the biggest sales I'd ever had at that time. Never had sales that big ever. And well, now I have since then, but it was a breakthrough sales fall for me, selling my 2025 all signs bundles in the fall of 24. So you'll see these anchor pivot points that I think all of us can look at. And the last quarter moon of July 17th, 2025 was another pivot point in some way in which we accrue our financial resources. We've done the work. It was 3 years behind us, and now we're capitalizing on it and maybe moving on to new things. Well, hey, Taurus, it's 12th house stuff. I don't know. I always tell people, I don't know if it's like, it's not even the backseat of your car. It's the trunk of your car. Or it's the sofa on a rug with a trapdoor underneath it. Most people don't have conscious access to their 12th house, and they're unconsciously activated there. It's your own worst enemy, self-undoing, addictions, bad habits, patterns, karmic knots, ancestral line junk. It's all that stuff. It's also spiritual liberation, like Buddhahood. Jesus walks on water. It's the high level stuff. So if you don't choose to go there, you might not notice it. Otherwise, it could put you in jail or in a hospital. Those are jails and hospitals because it represents isolation, places of isolation, and also sometimes expenditures. Well, all I can say is I want you to think about you. And definitely seeking solitude is good for you. Alone time is good for you. All right. This is also good for rehab or something like that. This new beginning, new moon, it's got a sovereign Zeus on his throne. You want to pick up a new level of intrinsic power, your own personal seat of power when it comes to self-undoing, addictions, bad habits, all the good stuff, your own worst enemy, your own saboteur. At the same time, another thing I would say about this is that you're quite capable here with this kind of Mars-backed energy and Saturn as well, of making a major change off this moon to do with where you live. Now, some of you won't move, but you'll make a decision about where you want to live. And some of you may choose to move quite far away from where you're currently living, whether another part of the country or even another country. All of those are possible. One thing I want to note is that I reminded you that in April of 2023 through to this April's moon, 3 years, back in 23, we had that 29-degree eclipse, and it's a beginning that's now closing a chapter out in the couple of weeks after this moon. And that beginning also included the node of fate in Taurus. So there was a changing, destined, fated way your Taurus nature, your sun, your career and purpose, your moon, your home and nest, your Taurus rising, your character in the simulation was having a destined rewire or change of direction. So my Taurus sun daughter indeed had a major change of career in these 3 years. She graduated university and has been for 2 of the last 3 years in her first ever corporate job. So these stories, identity, right? She's a Taurus sun. I am employed in a corporate setting, right? She's a student. She was never in a real job before, just like waitressing. So if you Taurus moons want to go back, you probably had some major changes regarding fated shifts in your domicile, home, and nest, where you live. Taurus moons, your exalted moons. And Taurus risings, of course, how did your identity change? As well as the sun, right? Taurus sun is identity connected to career and purpose. But Taurus rising, anything. I'm married, I'm widowed, I'm divorced. The I ams have changed dramatically from the eclipse in 2023. April, and it's a closing bookend chapter right now. This is it. For example, I have a Taurus sun friend who's completely changing careers because he went bankrupt. So, in his independent entrepreneurial business. So yeah, it wasn't an easy ride, but it was eclipses too, right? So I want you to see how you're going to be sovereign, sitting on your throne, empowered in a new way. If any of you guys say to yourself, I'm such an F up, an F up, I'm such an F up. I completely ruined my life. I am my own worst enemy. Damn it. I sabotage myself. How do I trip myself up like that? If any of you have had that going down in your psyche, this sovereignty of Zeus here and this new beginning is going to turn that around for you, right? This is a promise over the next 2 weeks to see evidence of that, and the next 6 months to get a handle on the full story. Finally, addictions recovery. Neptune is addictions. Saturn is sobriety. Mars is cutting and taking ambitious decision power action to make a change. So if any of you have a substance misuse disorder of any kind, you're definitely going to shift that. This moon is going to be a springboard of authentic power to do the change needed. For goodness sakes. Gemini, sun, moon, and rising sign. For you, you've got this powerhouse moon in your 11th house of good spirit. Your 11th house is where you actualize things like the gains of one's career, fame, fortune, influence, celebrity, money, but also you get up at there your dreams, goals, and long-term wishes, like fairy godmothers and fathers could live up there. You get windfalls and pennies from heaven. You get a sibling one older, and lots of your social groups and friendship stories are there, networks. And in this regard, back in 2023 in April, you started something new. You went like, okay, there's an eclipse here and it's April 19th and it's going to kickstart something for me that's closing up this April 17th eclipse moon. It's a bookend. And in that regard, because the node of fate was still in the sign of Taurus in the actual lunation that happened back in 23, it also opened up directions connected to your 11th house, 12th house. Now, the 12th house is that self-undoing and sabotaging, which I talked about for the Taurus just a minute ago, and addictions. And it's also the house of revenue generated from distant shores and foreign lands. And some of you, if you're working online, digital income borderless revenue, would have saw that eclipse begin in 2023, April, until now. Make some major life changes to increase your success in the 12th house. Some of you might have got a handle on your addictions or your bad habits. Some of you might have really made a turnaround case for your money that you generate from a foreign company. You live in a foreign country and you make money there, or you make money from foreign people. They pay you, right? So that's our modern digital international revenue story for a lot of us. As a progressed Gemini sun represents my career. I made the turning point from a non-viable financial business in 23. It wasn't sustainable. I wasn't going to be able to pay my rent to now I can more than pay my rent. Okay. So it turned my money around from money from foreign people and far places. Guys, half of you here are Americans, right? 80% of you are women. All right. My audience is 80% women and 50% American, which is why I cover a lot of American and North American politics. Now, the other thing to tell you is that because you have a new sovereign throne here, and the 11th house is being the sovereign seat of power when it comes to the dreams, goals, and wishes that you have for your life. This simply saying, sit on the throne of your queenly and kingly manners and command your life. What do you want to create? What do you want to dream into being? What are your long-range goals? Not from a place of, disempowerment, but from the ultimate throne of reality, king of the Olympian mountain and king of the Olympian gods. It could definitely look like you could become quite successful off of this moon, add 2 weeks, and then even add more up to 6 months financially from your career, or even just in terms of influence, stature, and success and recognition. And because your sibling one older is connected to, if you have a sibling one older connected to this house, major positive directions in the relationship to that sibling or in the life of that sibling can also be a part of the narrative. Mars does like to cut, end, and sever. The moon is in the bound of Saturn to limit something. And the Chiron is the wound here. There's a lot of that sober energy here too with Neptune, Saturn, sober instead of drunk or sober instead of escaping. So you might change your friendship groups over the next 2 weeks or up to 6 months after this moon into a different crowd. Like you're looking for a new crew. And Mars is the guy who pairs the dead wood off your friendship circles and networks tree, right? So it could incite a new beginning amongst new types of friends and social groups. And maybe Zeus means you're going to hobnob with the Olympian gods, right? A new level of affluence and influence and social networks may occur in the 2 weeks and even up to 6 months after. All right. So you could just quit the way you make money, FYI. That's another thing. But if you do, then you're going to level up to a new throne as well. Cancer, sun, moon, and rising sign, big old stellium up there and a new beginning. The new beginning is kicking off on the 17th of the month. This new moon is going to be in your 10th house of career. Now, there is a disappointed audience, a Sabian symbol here, and I have to give you some notice there because this is the house of the public, most public place. Like it's like high noon at the Okyrhoe. So it's very visible. So, you know, there may be something going on in your space of career where you feel like there's been a misfire or you feel disappointed or, you know, but it's just a Sabian symbol. And the deeper meaning is there's a bookend to the eclipse of April the 19th, 2023. And now we're closing it out on the 17th with this new moon. Watch for the events that tumble forth in the next 2 weeks to 6 months from this new moon, like kind of vibe, both of those time frames that show you're closing a chapter professionally. You've been dealing with a chironic wound. I covered this in my other video, so like and subscribe. You know, about your true purpose. You want to be on purpose in your work. Some of you might have tried to work as a mentor, guide, healer because Chiron represents that. But if you go back to 2023 and now you look at your spring of 26, what is it you were doing? And are you changing, chaptering out, starting something new? My Cancer rising sister, Nancy, was a Reiki healer. And she did long distance Reiki, starting with setting her business up fully in spring of 2023, and she's closing it down. She decided she wants to do other stuff now. Totally love that for her. So after being a nurse for 30 years, I don't think she wants to be healing other people anymore. Said she's working in social media assistance work, right, with me and others. I do want to say we need a great social media person anyway to assist you. She's so reliable. But I want to mention that because it's the top of the sky, it's also what people see you doing and how they perceive you. Like your weddings and divorces, your bar mitzvahs and bat mitzvahs, your christening ceremonies, all of the announcements that go up around, you know, where you are in your status, social standing, and that's up there too. And there can be a major new beginning or change of social standing. And because Saturn is in the mix here, ruler, bound lord, ruler of the moon, he rules your marriage house. If you're not married, some of you could be stepping up and telling the world, yeah, like in the 6 months after the moon, I'm with someone or I'm going to be married. Or some of you could be saying I'm going to be divorced or I'm going to be widowed or something. Leave nothing off the table. Chiron, though, you know, is helping you heal a chironic wound since 2019 about being in the right career path for a lot of you. And Mars likes to make change. He's a change maker. He's like, okay, we're going to go in a new direction. Everyone, follow me. So what new direction are you taking? Saturn says it takes time. Be disciplined and perseverant, but a lot of professional new directions are opening up for you. And you'll see evidence for that in the 2 weeks after the moon, right? And up to 6 months later. And I certainly won't complain about King of Mount Olympus up there. You're going to sit on your high throne. This is going to initiate you into a new level of authority and power. And maybe feeling really good about that power that you wield in the workplace or in your career space. And it doesn't matter if you're entrepreneurial or you work for a company. It's both of those things. Mars is the ruler of the entrepreneurial fifth house. So it does give you a lot of propulsion if you want to start an entrepreneurial gig and you haven't done it before. Off of this moon, I do it. Okay. If you haven't done an entrepreneurial gig, go for it. This is a yes, yes, yes moon for that. So anyway, go back and think about the last 3 years. What have you been doing professionally? What chapter is closing out that may have opened up in 2023? And the node of fate was in the gains of the career house. So clearly it was a career change in 23 that led to new gains or new ways of making money, new ways of being rewarded for your career as well. And you might have begun that in 23, right? And now the chapter might close and something new can begin. Funny, my sister started working for me. The North Node of Fate was in the house of the sibling one older, her 11th house, in 23. But she's not closing out a chapter. She just made a business model happen. She's closing out the healing chapter, but she's still working for me, thank God. I love having a sister because I can call her up anytime. You know, you don't need the fam vibe when I'm having a crisis in my business or something. All right. How about Leo, sun, moon, and rising sign? What's going on? It looks like you've got a beautiful new beginning, fire trining you, moon at the end of the sign of Aries. It's going to recapitulate or wake up the eclipse of April 19th, 2023. Therefore, go from that April of 23 to 3 years later, the now. What did you begin or start or initiate in your ninth house? It could have been a new religious path, a spiritual faith. It could have been a new beginning regarding higher education and learning. It doesn't even have to be off to university, as long as it's a longer term learning, like more than a weekend workshop. You might have had new beginnings when it comes to matters to do with a sibling 2 older than you, or 4 younger, new beginnings and fresh starts off that eclipse that also connect you to foreign lands, foreign people, and foreign places, foreign shores, and distant, long distance places. So maybe some of you got engaged in legal and court battles. And hopefully you haven't been doing that for 3 years, but that's a story, the ninth house. So the eclipse happened back in April of 2023, and the North Node was still in the 10th house. And therefore, it does also tell me that it's about your career and it's about your visible reputation. So a lot of you are making some significant changes in that area of your life. And it could also have been in 2023 that you were just on a simply very big learning curve. But the ninth house is the hand of the king. So that's why Kamala Harris is a better vice president, because she's got her Saturn there, right? And she's not cut out in her chart to be the king. She's cut out to be the hand of the king, or the second in command, or the co-pilot. So this is a second in command, like executive assistant to the CEO or vice president. So if you engaged or got yourself involved in high level positions next to people in power in the last 3 years, that would make sense as well. So my sister, my sidekick, is a Leo sun, and she's my sidekick. She's my second in command. She's my total second in command. Anything about that I would worry about? No, but I will say this, just in case. Sometimes we can categorize the ninth house of father figures. Mars cuts, ends, and severs. New beginnings in the bound of Saturn fallen. Something going on perhaps with the health of a person in your life that you would categorize as a father figure, or in the life of a spouse, because Saturn rules your spousal house, that they're going to go through a challenging window of time in the 2 weeks that follow this eclipse. It could even unfold for them over the course of 6 months. We'll see how that looks. And, it can never tell, right? The North Node's in the house of inheritances from, widowhood or widowerhood or whatever. So, or not even that. And we like spousal separation agreements and divorce. Some of you may be going through a little bit of that as well. Not necessarily, but it's possible. Closing out that chapter of 3 whole years. By the way, you guys have Askalaphus in your sign. Okay. Are you a Leo like Tulsi Gabbard, JD Vance, and Erica Kirk? Anyway, does somebody want to whistleblow? Askalaphus is here. Hopefully, none of you are going to get struck by a spear. This is Donald Trump's chart. Of course, the ninth house is the house for him of international. It's also the house of courts. It's also the house of foreign countries, armed and ready. A lot going on there. It's also the house of the JD Vance, right? JD Vance would be in the ninth house, the hand of the king. So, well, we shall see what happens. Sorry, Leos, but you have to share your Leohood with famous Leos. That's the way of the land. Virgo, sun, moon, and rising sign. Looks to me like you've got a new beginning and a new moon at the end of your 8th house. Clearly, it's usually a money house, but it can also be a spiritual house, psychological, spiritual, soul works kind of energy. It's connected to all of the moksha liberation energies, and there may be something going on where you're working through spiritual awakenings, but also you might be looking at finances, the kind of money that belongs to your 8th house. So it's also the occult mysteries, right? Some of you might be getting ready for a fresh start as you learn astrology, numerology, gene keys, or something like that. Human design, take your pick. But if not, then let's go back to the basics, right? Money that doesn't belong to you and you don't earn directly. Okay, so an investment payoff, money from a spousal separation, money from spouse money shared, money coming from an inheritance. Now, the sun is a father figure in the house of inheritance. Sun rules your house of hospitals. It's possible. It's not necessarily true. Askalaphus was killed by a spear in the house of hospitals. This is what the sun rules. The sun is in the house of death. There may be a possibility with Saturn, Mars there that some father figure in your life is going to bite the dust, so to speak. And I can do an Erica Kirk, not to be morbid, but my husband was killed or whatever. It's really just life. It could be that time for that person, that soul to move on. And it could be an elder soul. Saturn means old age, right? So we're not talking about you're 20 and your dad's 40. We're talking about old age father figures, grandparents included, passing the baton and moving on under the sky. It could be anywhere near the moon or up to 2 weeks after, or it could even tumble into the 6 months that follow. Father figure, someone older than you for sure, who you look up to or lean on or think of as a father figure. Whether they're really a dad or not is irrelevant. Now, one thing about this is if you go back to 2023 when you had an eclipse here, and it was in April, and the node of fate was in the 9th house, it may have had a lot to do with multiple themes. You started a new beginning connected to your money, connected to your education. And your education in higher education settings, colleges and campuses, or in terms of legal and court battles for spousal separation, inheritance monies, or it may be something to do with your money connected to a foreign place, foreign person, or foreign situation. And so all of that started in April of 2023. And now that chapter is closing out. It's possible that some of this money as well could connect now to in-law money. Okay. Receiving money from in-laws in the next 2 weeks to 6 months, right? That's a possibility, including inheritances vis-a-vis in-laws. But also travel internationally would be the North Node, 9th house in April. And the 8th house would be things to do with being able to finance that travel, perhaps, or to do the travel because you share resources with a significant long-term love partner. And it's probable or possible even that some of you did do a lot of international travel since 23. Add 3 years, pent-up travel post-COVID disaster, right? And maybe with a significant other, or maybe in connection to just availability of money that you didn't earn, like a trust fund, an inheritance, a chunk of money, a tax rebate, and you use that for travel, something that as simple as that. More importantly, you're actually trying to lean into a deeper life purpose here. From the 2023 till now chapter that's ending, it was also to align yourself with your deeper purpose. And if you have any occult talents and gifts at all, this moon will open that door up for you, because Saturn rules your natural gifts and talents. So if you think that you talk to dead people, or you're going to give it a try, or you're really naturally intuitive, psychic, clairvoyant, clairaudient, this could be a gate opener for you. Okay. This could really set you in motion in order to actualize some of those talents that you have and that you came into this life to express. So you can use that to galvanize your success as a psychic, for example. If there's anything hidden from you that you need to hear about, secrets revealed on this moon as well, thanks to Mercury. Okay, sorry about that. Secrets about siblings in particular, secrets about siblings in particular. Secrets about siblings may be revealed in this lunation. Stay tuned. All right, Libra, sun, moon, and rising sign. There is a new beginning and a fresh start. It's happening in your 7th house. This is a house of long-term love. If you're a rising sign, a new moon could bring you love, but it's seated on the throne of Zeus. So you're going to try to find a very powerful, authoritative type person, right? Zeus there is like having Jupiter there. If that's going to happen for singletons, you're not going for any old person. This is someone of some esteem or some power. That said, you are also looking at your 2023 time. There was an eclipse in 2023, and it activated both your 7th and 8th houses. Some of you may have gotten some kind of chunks of money through certain things, sale of a home, connections to inheritance money from family, spousal separation monies, chunks of unearned income in shared resources may have been appearing willy-nilly for you since 2023. And yes, that includes selling property. Now, what I see here is that you're looking at a new chapter beginning from these 3 years behind you as you're starting fresh and beginning a new direction. For a few of you, it could have been involving 3 years of separating out from a long-term love relationship or a wounded partner. For this startup, though, because of the stellium, if you have a partner who's wounded by addiction, then this is going to turn the life of the partner around. The partner is receiving the Mars and the Saturn/Neptune combination. And the new moon can open them up to a new level of authentic power in the restoration of wellness through the disinhibiting or quitting of addictions. Mercury is the ruler of the addictions house in this chart. And it's also one of those charts where if you want to begin a new relationship, and this could bring one to you, okay, I'm not going to say it won't. Just going to give you some advice because this new moon, which lasts 2 weeks after and up to 6 months after, and you're looking for love in all the right places, you'll know you've got the right person because it got the money. All right. They're not poor. And I'm not even going to go into all the reasons. It's Venus in the 8th house. It's the authority of Zeus there, but maybe you've been wounded by getting into relationships where you carry a financial load, and now you can actually have a partner who shares the burden with you or shares the profits with you, that you have success in business and love partners in the next 6 months after the new moon, where you kind of meet your match, right? You meet your match financially connected to business and love partners. So that's my prediction for you. If you're already in a relationship, don't leave it because of this chart, right? I mean, this could be hard on the relationship. There can be a real kind of crunchy vibe in the 3 days after the moon where it feels like someone's grinding the gears. But if you survive it, it's a testing of the metal of the relationship, METTLE, the metal of the relationship. Can this relationship survive? Well, you'll know between a day before the moon and about 3 or 4 days after for sure. By the 23rd of the month, you should have the testing period over and you'll go, okay, we made it. We're going to make it after all, you know, that song. All right. That's my guidance for you. What about Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising? A new moon is closing a chapter. The chapter started in April of 2023 with a new moon eclipse with the North Node in the house of committed love. Now, committed love relationships that didn't exist since 23, and now here we are 3 years later, may have emerged through work, pets, and tenancy rental placements. So you might have met somebody in those conditions and begun a new relationship. If you were already in a relationship, you and your partner may have changed your home by renting a new home, by releasing your home out, you might have considered getting a pet, and you and a significant love partner back then, right, may also have begun to do co-working projects together. And if you're single, you probably met somebody through career and work related themes. So that's behind you. Those chapters, Scorpio, are closing down. Because this is your work house, though, just pure work house, that eclipse in 2023 may have triggered some major shifts in the type of work you do. Adding a North Node element to the 7th house would be dealing with the public, marketing and sales, having clients and customers at your behest. And that might have been a very big shift. My Scorpio sun, I think, started PepsiCo, director of a section of sales, for his business. Like he worked in, he's got sales territory, like a sales guy. He might have done that PepsiCo job in 23, if I remember correctly. I think that's when he changed jobs from a telecom company. So he did start a new job back then. So 3 years later, the chapter's closing. Well, he's taking paternity leave for 8 months because he's having a baby this probably early August. So that's a closing of a chapter. And will he go back to PepsiCo? I bet not. I bet she'll start something different. The guy's got some bigger plans than being a PepsiCo rep. Although Pepsi's better than Coke, if you ask me. And all said and done, I think the other thing I want to mention to you about this is that you do have Askalaphus, the whistleblower energy in the 10th house. I don't know if you would want to whistleblow or if someone could spill the beans about corporate misdeeds, but that could come up, whistleblowing around work stuff. Someone's whistleblowing or you are. 2 weeks after the moon, maybe. And also the idea that you're on the Zeus throne here, right? You got your kingly throne and you're sitting on it, and you might be taking a rest too. Saturn, Mars, I'm going to stop working, or I'm going to cut back my work. I'm going to contain my work levels is what I'm seeing here. Maybe for your health. Saturn rules your home and your home life. And he says, okay, and bring it home, maybe work from home more often, or contain the work away from your home so you don't bring it to the home. And with the sun ruling your career house, it's definitely a change of career, like it may have been a new start. And when I talk about April's eclipse in 23, don't forget, I didn't go through it for every sign, but there were pivotal points of turning on July 17th of 2025. And another pivotal point, October 17th of 2024. And I covered what those points were in the beginning of this video. Go back and watch it. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss a thing. I'm going to get my fuckity fuck mug up. You can say these words well down the pipeline of the thing for Sages who are famously good at cursing. Now, it's a spirit of adventure. It's because Mercury doesn't do well in your sign. You tend to have a looser mouth at times. Let's talk about your fifth house. It's fire trining you. You like it. It's the nature of Jupiter, positive for you, fire trines. It has a thing. I want you to time travel to 2025, April 19th. That was the eclipse. The eclipse had the North Node in the sixth house. Couple of thoughts. You could have started an entrepreneurial business in the last 3 years. You could have started dating somebody from your work environment. You may have gone into a artistic creative project of some kind that's connected to things that have to do with animals or pets or rental properties, for example. Or you made your work something passionate, enthusiastic, and enjoyable rather than something that you just did for the jab, you know? So you might have been trying to rejuvenate your enthusiasm and inspiration for your work as that eclipse occurred in your fifth house. Your relationship to your children may have also changed over the last 3 years if you have children, and your relationship to a sibling too younger than you as well. In the meantime, because the fifth house is your talents and gifts that you were born to express, they came in to this life with you, inherited talents and gifts from the family of origin, the gains of the fourth, then clearly you are likely to have wanted to express those talents and gifts in a more professional capacity because the sixth house is a work house. Now, the sun, ruling the Leo sky also says move into alignment with dharma or purpose. And for some of you, the passion may have been to travel internationally or go on pilgrimages or go on long distance journeys. Or even for some of you to move where you live to a foreign place. Now, the eclipse, but you probably would have looked at the idea of rentals, not purchases in that 3 years. This new moon, new beginning has a sovereign Zeus on the throne in the house of love. And if you're going to meet somebody because you're single, look for the neighborhood dog walking park or something to do with property rental opportunities and meeting somebody through the livelihood and work area of your life. And so this new moon could bring those people to you. And I also would indicate the new moon for those of you who are looking for a relationship would likely indicate somebody with a difference of age, at least 6 or 7 years younger or older than you, but also a lot of passion and sexual sizzle would be here probably as well, thanks to Mars. I guess if you've been wounded about sexuality, love, and romance, there's a major reset button here. Have you felt that wound since 2023? Not getting any sex in your relationship or getting the wrong kind of sex or sexual betrayal stories? That's going to turn around here too. This is a chapter that began way back in 2023. This can bring you a kind of soulmate love story. It can also bring you great success financially from starting something more entrepreneurial. And it can also open you up to a deep and profound healing around fertility, children, pregnancy, love, and romance to kind of cap it off, right? And if it's about sex per se, then you're likely to have a shift in the next 2 weeks after the moon up to 6 months later where something is changing regarding a wound to your sexual energy that may have been right obvious since 2019, but got really intense after the eclipse of April of 2023. All right. And there were turning points along the way. I talked about them earlier, but, October 17th of 24 and July 17th of 2025, some pivots in the fifth house narrative. All right. Let me tell my friend I'm a little late. All right. Let's move into, am I on Capricorn? Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising, fourth house. Where's your home? Where's my true home? Where do I belong? Where do I fit in? That's the vibe. And ultimately, it's about healing the childhood wounds since 2019. Back in April 19th, there was an eclipse at 29 Aries. What changed with where you live, with whom you live, people you live with, or your relationship to your mother wounds, your ancestral wounds, and your childhood life stories. That was all under a profound shift. The chironic healing has been working there since 2019. But being wounded there means quite often you feel since 2019 you haven't got your true home. Back in 2023, the eclipse here activated a change of home connected to children, love, or romance, creativity, or entrepreneurial business directions. Some of you may have changed your home, or maybe had a lover move into the home with you because of the fifth house north node from that eclipse. That chapter began in 2023, and it's ending this April of 2026. It's a 3-year story. So what began then is closing out now. And just because something closes out doesn't mean it's over. It could be resetting the terms. Like if it was about a romantic love affair, maybe you're going to get married, buy a property, move in together, or you know what I mean? So there's changes, right? New beginnings. Chapter closes, a new chapter opens. Because Mars likes to move, cut, end, and sever. And he's in the fourth house. He's going to want to move you. So you're going to find it up to 2 weeks after the moon, or rolling 6 months after the moon, you're going to move your home. The good news is, of course, you have, and by the way, Aries can mean a remote, distant, far off place, right? Saturn can be rocky hillsides. Aries can be warm or hot weather. But I will give you this. Because you have Zeus here on the new moon, the king of the Olympian mountain, and Mars in dignity, when you move, or if you move in the 6 months that follows this lunation, you are moving to a place where you feel like you're the king of your own mountaintop. All right. That's what I got for you. And it's an interesting time because it also could be someone moving out from where you live. It doesn't have to be that, either or will do, right? The energy here that is going through this sky at this new beginning could also have you moving for work-related reasons, or moving in order to secure a new home that is a rental property. That's Mercury's add into the narrative. When the moon is happening, don't forget, you will be able to look 2 weeks afterwards and up to 6 months after even for the full unfoldment of it. But the first couple of weeks, the day of the moon, day before, 2 weeks after, you'll notice stories playing out. Look for pivot points to do with the wounded home and where you should live and who you should live with. Back, one pivot point was October 17th of 2024 at a couple of weeks. Another pivot point was July 17th of 2025. And more like close to that date itself. These are major turning points in the connection to home and where you live. Strumming a guitar string from the 2019, 2023 eclipse. And don't forget, a lot of involved children, romance, love, lovers, our art, creative, and entrepreneurial reasons for changes within the home life itself. All right. And if you had to heal any kind of wounds about childhood or the wound of the mother relationship, that also will impact or have been a long process of 3 years connected to romantic love and sexual love, because the North Node was in the fifth house. I mean, some of you may have gotten involved in a long-term relationship for 3 years, well, long-term, or maybe you got out of one, right? Like disconnected from that some relationship. So whatever that story is about, it's coming to an end. If you're already with somebody, starting on the eclipse in the last 2023 April, fine, right? So what's been going on? What's the next chapter in that relationship? The sun does rule shared resources with a spouse. And some of you might be decisions coming up through this moon 2 weeks after and up to 6 months later to roll out a separation agreement or a divorce settlement. Just so you know, Mercury rules the houses of courts. So I see that here for some of you who are disenchanted with the current long-term marital type relationship. Alrighty, what about this one for the Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising? I have so many spirits talking in my ear right now. It's crazy. Aquarius, it's like, maybe I should go back and do psychic readings to dead people. Aquarius, I'm one of you. Let's talk. Third house is so much stuff, right? New moon here, like a new moon eclipse in April of 23, writing, teaching, selling, marketing, social media landscape, media, websites, ideas, neighbors and neighborhood, change. Go back to 2023, what was going on the new beginning, new moon that tripped wired that section of your chart, closing a chapter this April. Add a month or so. That's up to 6 months. So we often will find that when there's major change impetus in our third house, we change our location, like our city, town, or neighborhood. So some of you might have begun that process in 2023. I did. I moved from the house I lived in then to the place you see behind me now. And I'll be moving again in June. And this says another move is possible because of Mars. And so it's already in motion for me, and I know where I'm moving. But if you guys are Aquariuses and you don't know who and why and where you're moving, you could be finding this new moon, new beginning will move you. But the eclipse that we had was also North Node in the fourth house in April of 2023. And in the next 3 years, it can indicate major changes of home. But it could also mean wealth, worldly success, and prosperity connected to social media landscapes, writing and teaching, communicating, marketing, and selling. All right, so which is partly what I did. It could also mean love stories close to home that connected to travel. There's another way it could have played out for 3 years. Commuting for love, commuting for love. The story here this time around has got a Zeus on his throne, on his kingly throne. And therefore, you're going to be on a perch of power and authentic sort of dominant success, world domination, some kind of success, but it's likely third house success, a dominant perch in terms of power and recognition for writing, for teaching, for social media stuff. Neptune here powers up your social media to a new level. Mercury says, talk your brains out. Mars says, be ambitious, passionate, and excited and go for it. And Saturn says, over time, don't be reckless, take your time. So this is a kind of story that has a lot of angles to it. But you're going to close a chapter that began in 23. And I'll use me as an example. I incorporated, I really dug into my channel starting in the spring of 23. It became a viable business here on YouTube and in my classes after I began to dig in 23. I told everybody, I forgot some of you, turning points happened in October of 24, October 17th, add about a month or so to see it. Another turning point, July 17th of 2025. So look at those turning points behind you connected to your third house narrative. So funny, July of 25 is when I moved into my new place here, right? I got the lease in June, but I didn't move until July. So that makes total sense for me, guys. Like, it makes me laugh. So, and then if I think about me as an Aquarius rising, in October of 2024, prosperity from the home connected to writing, teaching, communicating. From my Aquarius perspective, that was the first time my 2020 X All Signs bundle sold so much. I made quite a bit of money compared to ever before. Instead of 60 people buying it, like, I don't know, a lot of people bought it. And so I see how it worked. Now, I can just imagine other Aquarius, it's not about me, what is going to change. Are you changing your neighborhood? Oh, relationship to siblings changes there, especially one younger. Connections to changes of your path when it comes to communicating and writing and marketing and selling and social media, landscape. Those are the stories, and they're going to play out 2 weeks after the moon, but also they'll tumble out for 6 months. It's not a one and done. And finally, the last but not least is going to be Pisces, sun, moon, and rising sign. And I've got a story for you. It's about your money. You've been wounded in the money house and maybe your face and maybe your dietary habits since 2019. Now we have this moon with Chiron. Covered it more on the other video. Go watch it. But you're going to be a sovereign throne lord, king of your money, earnings and resources and possessions. And you're going to be doing that because this new moon is saying that's what's true. But if you go back to April of 2023 and add 3 years, this is the bookend. You were making some significant changes, either to how you eat, what you put in your mouth, to your facial appearance, including your teeth, as well as to the money earnings direction you wanted to take. And because you had the North Node in the third house, some of you may have moved into money directions, earnings directions and stuff, connected to things connected to writing, scrying, divining, fortune telling, social media, um, online platforms, all the third house stuff was activated for you in 23. If you've never done anything like that or created a website or struck out on your own, new moon, new beginning, it opened up your natural talents and gifts, activated entrepreneurial instincts in you. And so that is a story that lived through you in spring of 23 till now. And it's chaptering, closing out for something new to begin. Take your time, build a new financial structure slowly, incorporate, for God's sakes, if you can. Saturn incorporated me in my second house. He'll help you save money and resources over time. Although, because he's the Lord of your eighth house, some money can come to you through inheritances, sale of property, spousal support, or widowerhood monies over the next 6 months. Your money story is wanting to take a turn for the better. Mars is in dignity. And how you make money in the next 6 months, look for 2 weeks to know what it is going to be very good, very positive. Is especially good if you're involved in the writing and publishing industry under this sky. It's also really good if you're involved in divining and scrying. And it also opens up quite a little bit of that old great gains from your career vibes. Saturn rules that, although he is in fall, he can still do what Mars tells him to do, which is to increase your success, influence, and financial gain and recognition over the next 6 months from something you're doing in a professional capacity. Because you also are somebody here who is finishing a long healing on the money, teeth, face, dietary habits and style front, right? It's coming to a close, right? A big grand finale. Saturn is perfect for restriction. So if you have to cut out, gluten or legumes or whatever, Saturn and Mars says cut and Saturn says, constrain. So it's really amazing for dietary changes, guys. It really is. And this is a house of your voice and you're championing something. You got a stronger voice. You want to speak out. You want to be an advocate, a champion of something in your work. Most of you, right? Most of you. And Saturn is also just simply delay. You may have thought this is something you wanted to do for a long time and now you're able to pull it off. So look for evidence of that professional shift. The new moon tells us you could do it from home with Mercury co-present, and and the sun rules your livelihood, sixth house. So there's a lot of this from the home, change the home, kind of thing. Hey, that's what I got for you. Okay. And I want to say one more thing. Mercury is the ruler of your marriage house and he's involved in a money moon, basically. So from this money moon, there can be money changes connected to spousal money as well. In some way, somehow, spousal money and your money are starting something new, doing something new, a new direction financially. Okay. And by spouse, long-term committed monogamous love relationship that may involve living together. All righty. That's what I have for all of you. Now I'm going to let my friend Renee into the Zoom room. Let me just pause the recording while I let her in. I am so delighted that Renee Baribeau, my friend for several years, who I met in Peru as she was leading a shamanic trip into the really high levels of no oxygen for me. Anyway, I met her years ago. We've been friends ever since. She's taught many different classes, including one on shamanism that I took with her during the pandemic. And she's here today to talk about her course that starts April 28th with the Shift Network. Renee has created something called Windwork. It's trademarked, and it's her own unique way of using our connection to the energies of wind and the earth itself to ask for guidance. It's a guidance navigational system, just like astrology, but coming from a more shamanic and earth-centered tradition. Welcome, Renee, to the conversation.
Oh, thanks, Lori. And I welcome to all of the people out there who are listening, who follow my dear friend, and much love to you and to Lori.
So tell us more about what you crafted for the 7 weeks starting April 28th with this live class that you're teaching and a big hefty PDF workbook to guide people through it.
Here's the big hefty PDF workbook that goes with it. And this is really the essential part of Windwork. And I would like to say that Lori and I go way back to Peru, and I will be going back to Peru this fall if anyone's been waiting to go to Peru. But when I started, Lori knows that this was a direct revelation. This was a download. And I put all of these winds on pieces of paper, cut up, had my friends print them, slice them, and put them in bowls and help me work out this. And Lori she still probably has her bowl of the winds and she uses that probably more than her oracle deck. But at that time, it was a divine revelation. So I was downloaded with this information and I taught it on the Shift Network 6, 7 years ago. But now I understand what it is, how to teach it. And like Laura just said, I just created the Windwork field guide so that you can actually have something to follow along with as you take this course.
That's one of my favorite things when teachers do that, because I'm really bad at making workbooks for my own students out there. Sorry, guys, I'm going to work on that. It really does help people navigate through something brand new in a kind of methodical way. I want to show you guys what the course looks like by opening up the actual Shift Network where the course is showing. Okay, now it won't go big. Well, oh no, it's because I'm not big. That's okay. I think it's because
You're big. You're really big.
Can you? Okay. Well, I think people can see it, but I think I've got myself in small mode. That's why. But anyway, so it's really an interesting thing that you have created, the wind work. And I want to give an example for my own life because I've been doing it forever, myself, the whole idea of playing with the winds. Like I called it my wind bag. And funny enough, my wind bag, it was a bag, a little pouch that you would put jewelry in. And I used to carry it around the world with me. But it's not just that I would draw a card like, I need some guidance right now. Like today in the introduction to the course, to the video, I drew the card sovereignty for the particular new moon that we're having. But that makes sense because Zeus, the king of Mount Olympus, the sovereign of Mount Olympus, is sitting on the moon, the asteroid. You couldn't have drawn, you can't make this shit up, a better card, but it's about that sovereign power that we all have in our own lives to be, authentically self-directed and in the seat of power. And so one of the things I was going to say is I also started to learn how to use the real winds. You go out and you notice that there's a south wind blowing right at you, right? And there is a meaning to the cardinal winds, north, south, east, and west. There's an actual meaning to those cardinal directions that the four corners of the medicine wheel, they have their own inherent wisdom embedded in them. And you've managed to parse how many winds from around the world? Because, how many winds did you get so far together?
Well, really, when we started, I had listed about 150, but now the Windwalker Wisdom Oracle deck has 64 winds in it. And what's fascinating is you talk about the cardinal winds, but in this last incarnation, I discovered the intercardinal winds, and that not only are they significant, because we knew they were there, because you remember when we were looking at that 360-degree compass that you were studying and we looked at, well, the intercardinal winds, the gates of Samaria and in Mesopotamia opened up to the intercardinal winds. We've been using the cardinal directions as our points of reference, but that was a shift somewhere along the lines. And my guess, because I hadn't really uncovered them before, is that with this axis turning some, we're moving to that we will be orienting once again to the intercardinal directions of northeast, southeast, southwest, and northeast.
Right. That is an interesting shift. It's almost like the Julian calendar, or, the lunations are 13, a moon calendar is ancient tradition, right? 13 moons, 13 months. Now we went 12, right? We went in a new, new way of being with humanity. So if I was to take this course, because I'm all shamanically trained now, but if I was to take this course, what would be my motivating reason to do? I mean, here it says, during this live video course, you'll learn to read the cardinal winds and complete a wind assessment, intensity, and learn the practices of tabba cutting, and also recalibrate my relationship with my emotions and harvest rituals and wind knots. I love the wind knot ceremony, guys. I know how to do that one. But if I had to boil it down in the learning together with you in this course for those 7 weeks live with my workbook, and I'm wandering through my life right now and I don't have a lot of navigational tools, like maybe I don't know enough astrology or I haven't learned the tarot. How would you describe the before and after process if someone before they've learned the wind work and after?
One thing we forget is that the wind does not force things in their life. The wind does not force, it moves nature. Like if you look at the trees, the wind moves it. And so often in our life, we think that we have to force our direction, or that when we take our power back, that we can insinuate ourselves where we want to go. But once we learn to align with the winds, we allow spirit to navigate. And when we are faced with something that's not where we want to go, we realize that we haven't done something wrong, that maybe we're just facing the wrong wind. So,
Ah, I love that.
so this course teaches you how to set a goal and tack across the water to get to your intended harbor.
Hmm. Well, yeah, and it's lovely to use the analogy of sailing because there's a wind card called the doldrums, and there is no wind.
And the no wind, you would think like, oh, there's no wind blowing in my life, but there's a no wind is a can be a good thing. So when a boat gets in the becalmed water down by the equator, what they do at the time is they offload anything off the ship that is non-essential. So when you think no wind, nothing's moving in my life, it might be a time you just stop, take stock of what you have, and throw overboard, the livestock or whatever that's not serving you, so that when your boat starts to move again, it moves with ease and grace.
Mm. Yeah, like that stillness point or the fallow time is needed, right? And I think our whole world is on a racetrack, and it's always about moving forward and moving fast and moving. And when the wind is still, it invites that stillness, not just like of the things in our life that we could say jettison overboard and recognize there's no wind pushing, right? But in the stillness or moving the boat, so to speak, I think the still point is the most important part of life. Like we have to find that deep
Absolutely.
stillness in the doldrums and in the quiet times.
And to know that this is really important for us, because we're always trying to take care of everyone else and do everything we're supposed to do. But the wind work teaches us that we only can navigate from our own wheelhouse. So I can't steer Lori's life. I can only navigate from my own wheelhouse. And if we happen to be moving along in the same jet stream, then we're going to connect. And but I can't force it. I can't push it. I can't demand it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's a lot like astrology. I love that, the wind work is just one of those navigational tools for astrology is a map of time, but it's also a map of timing, like for example, Mars just entered into his home kingdom for the first time in 2 years on April 9th through to May the 24th. And I have been so unable to get my action mojo going on things that are so simple, like setting up my appointment for my dentist, or whatever. Like action is Mars, and I have an Aries sun and moon and rising. And so I've been in this kind of like a doldrums when Mars has been in Pisces, which is my 12th house of solitude and isolation from my sun. I just couldn't get it up, to do anything. But I recognize from astrology, getting it up wasn't the thing. It was to be doing the no thing. You know what I mean? So now that I got the Aries vibe back again, thank you, Mars. Like I'm finally on my go-getter mode again. I got my feeling of, yeah, now I can move forward with ease. For my sign, that works. So I like that, no pushing against the wind, for example, and finding the still points when needed. And I see that the modules are coming through on Tuesdays, Mars days at 5 p.m. Pacific. So that would be wonderful I could do those 8 o'clock on the Eastern time zone, Eastern seaboard. And every module has Q&As by you, so that if you're and each one's building on the other one, like enter the compass and learn to read the wind. Clear your mental air and stop over analyzing when you connect with the east winds. Cultivate a new relationship to your emotions with the power of the south. Yeah, I think of the south as childhood and innocence. Explore the sacred west winds to compost the past into power. Oh, I like that. Identify the seen and unseen forces that support and anchor you when you explore the steady north winds, and calibrate your internal compass to withstand any of life's storms, and become a wind walker and live towards your intended harbor each day. I like that idea, the wind walker. What a nice label.
The wind walker. I just want to say, when you were talking about not being able to get up your mojo or move to,
Mm-hmm.
I pulled a wind oracle card for you. And of course, we all say in the Wind clan that the wind knows. So of course I got Seslana, sovereignty, the one, same one you got earlier.
It's the same one I got
I know.
for the
And
whole moon.
and it's about that it's in the reverence, it's in understanding how nature performs or how nature is, that the power is. So understanding that if your seed was lying dormant until the timing is right, that there is perfect timing and you weren't not getting to something, it wasn't the right time to do it.
Exactly. So that's my perfect excuse for you and I not getting on a call together for the last 6 weeks. I
I love it.
wasn't in my right timing, Renee.
That's right. Well, but we're here now.
Yeah. Bonus offer. If you sign up before April 14th, you're going to get some extra juicy shit. Conversations from the green room with Renee and Sandra Ingerman, a very well-known and established shaman who I studied with in Findhorn, Scotland back in 2000, the Angel Conference. Anyone else was there on my comments, let me know. And I also managed to have a lunch with her in the Santa Fe, where she lives. Oh, I don't remember what year that was, maybe 2015 or something. So, but she's pretty amazing. She's been around forever and been partnering on and off with Renee in various collaborations. So great to have that conversation bonus. And April the 23rd, we have a bonus of expires April 23rd. You get access to your online experiential group. Is that the Facebook group, the Wind Clan?
It's it's on the windwork.org. It's
Okay.
the 12 months teaching and all the additional readings of the Windwalker Wisdom Oracle. And I believe there's a bonus from Lori on that particular, because I took some of the bonus ones that I really liked and put it in there too. So it's about 25 hours of programming about how to work with the Oracle. Wait, go
Wonderful.
back up. I want to show you one you missed.
I scrolled
Wait,
quickly.
no, keep going up, down, go up a little bit. Down, down, down. There's a bonus here that's a first time bonus. It's a chapter from my new book that's coming out with Inner Traditions about that no one's read. So it's like a first time glimpse at my new book.
Is that going to come if we get in by April 14th or April 23rd?
So scroll down, I can't see because you have it's next. Can you see
Yeah.
scroll right
Oh,
here?
there it is.
This is a really inspired chapter called Rituals and Sacred Connectors. And I think you'll get that bonus once you sign up. And what they haven't advertised is that the people who sign up early for the class are going to get the Windwork Field Journal.
Okay, you mean like as a mail to them, or you mean a PDF download?
A PDF download
Okay,
to the field guide.
okay, perfect. Lots of nice bonuses there too. Looks like a
Lots of
lot of
good
fun,
bonuses.
Renee. It looks like a blast, actually. Now that Mars is in Aries, maybe I'll tag along.
I
Uh,
would love for you to tag along.
I would love to. Do you have any last thoughts you want to pull a wind card? Because my audience is always asking for
Yes, yes.
no on will Donald Trump make it through to mid-May in his Oval Office seat just for fun?
Wait, will he make it through when?
To mid-May.
You
I
mean, are
don't
we
think
going to lose him this month?
I think he's this month or early May somehow
He's
somewhere.
looking, I have to say, he was looking pretty bad at that last talk he gave at Easter. He didn't look like he was hopping along like the Easter Bunny.
No, he doesn't look well.
So, so there's,
Oh, I got a freaking
oh,
mosquito.
wow.
Oh, what is it?
I got, I got Mara Marzana, the death card, Taker of Wind.
Okay, put it to the camera. Oh my God.
Yeah, his wind is running short. He's getting winded.
Okay, hold it up again.
You're getting the chilies?
Wait, I'm not talking because as soon as I talk, I'm losing you primary. Okay, put it up again.
Do you want me to talk so it's primary? So this wind this is the taker of wind. So what we know about wind is that when you come into this earth, you take that from your mother's womb, you take that first wind breath in, And when you leave the planet and when you die, you exhale your last wind breath out. And so this wind spirit is the taker of wind, so that there is no more wind, which means death.
Look, there's like how many cards in the deck again? 48?
64.
64. And you like the I Ching, and you picked that card for Donald Trump.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to clip this from our interview and stick it on my Substack so that people can see what you drew.
Okay.
And of course, I'll direct them to the course. You can't make this shit up. I promise you guys, we didn't rehearse any of this.
No.
This is exactly what happened. She didn't know I was going to ask her to draw a card.
And the fact that I pulled the same card that you pulled earlier.
I know, sovereign.
My Windies always say, Renee, you just can't make this stuff up. And Lori's been with me for 10 years, and it just over and over and over again, we got reassurances that these winds are spirit that are here to guide us. So if you need some internal guidance and internal navigation, this course is for you.
Oh, I'm so excited. I think I'm tagging along because I need more Renee time. I can get it by being a participant.
Yeah, that's the only way you're going to get it.
I know. I miss you too, my dear. Thank you for taking time to be a part of this little clip for your, for the end of my video for the moon. I'm going to stop the recording to say goodbye to you. Thank you, everyone who's been listening to this little section. I hope you enjoyed it. And hopefully I'll see some of you in class because I'll probably be there too. And I'll say goodbye to Renee. Take care. Don't forget, guys, like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. All right. Ciao, ciao. Astrology is a map, but it's not a map of place. It's a map of time. What I love about teaching astrology and having people use this time map is that it helps them navigate their life. You wouldn't get out of your house and go ahead and start traveling without a literal map or a GPS unit, especially if you don't know the terrain. Well, astrology is the map. It is the terrain of time. And in our course, the Divine Timing Masterclass, we're going to be learning about 5 very powerful precision tools in astrology to time your best life. But here is the thing. This is a course that takes ancient timing tools and Time Lord tools, and yes, helps you navigate reality with greater ease and flow and even luck because you know how to work with it. But it is not the only part that astrology offers you. It's not only a prediction map of time. Once you start going down the astrology rabbit hole, you, like me, begin to wonder about fate and free will, like who's in charge here? Because you're going to see the arc of destiny, and you're going to notice if you use these timing tools, not only how to look forward, but how to look backwards. And one of the most surprising parts of this is that when we turn around and look backwards using astrology, we see pattern recognition and cycle repetition. And that is useful. Number one, it gives a sense of destiny and meaning to our lives where we understand no choices we made were right or wrong. They weren't mistakes. The choices and actions we took were a part of a greater plan. The second thing I love about pattern recognition and cycle repetition, because it's pretty reliable, you can use it to time your best life because you can say, okay, I've done this one before. I've been through this set of eclipses every 18 and a half years. I know how they operate in my chart. And well, it's never the exact same story in exactly the same way. The archetypes underneath the story are the same. Venus, Pluto archetypes, the love of power and the power of love, right? So like it's one energy playing out in different ways in our lives. And, we can get like a jealousy and a betrayal story with Pluto, but we can also get the depth of love, true love, transformative love, and regenerative love. So how these stories play out depends on how you receive them and how you choose to interact with them. So in my Divine Timing Masterclass, I've chosen 5 tools that I think I can teach intermediate to advanced beginner students. And I have taught this class before in 2022 and 2021, but not all of these tools. I taught 4 of these tools, I believe. So in our class, if you want to join me in the Divine Timing Masterclass for 5 consecutive weekends in the month of May on Saturdays, I'd love to have you there. There's a little checklist on my website that's going to ask you whether or not you think you're ready for this class, because you don't want to take this class if you've never before learned the meaning of the planets, the meanings of the houses, how to recognize the astrology glyphs. If you don't know the rudimentary language of astrology, this course will not be for you. This is for those advanced beginners and intermediate students. And by the way, if you want to learn the basics, come to my Sky Reader course. Every September we begin, and this year's course will be at least 7 weeks rather than a traditional 6, to allow for a slower learning curve for some of you who find the pace a little fast, but I am teaching you a new language. All right, when you start off as a beginner, and no one learns Italian or Greek overnight. My name is Lori Lothian, by the way, and I am Lunatic Astrology, and we are learning together. I'm going to show you the website that I put up that shows you the basic layout of the land of this course that's coming up. It's going to be modular. There are 5 weekends, there are 5 courses, there are weekly Q&As that are attached to each module, which I go into a coaching mode or in a help mode to help you if you're confused on the tool or to guide you further. So you're getting the class with me, which will go at least most times 90 minutes minimum to 2 hours sometimes. And then you're going to get the actual follow-up for that module in a midweek Q&A with a replay for all of it. And you get to keep the course forever. It's evergreen. Once you take it with me, it's yours. You don't, it's like, it's saved for you on my teaching platform, and you can go back and learn it anytime. So I want to just say the 5 tools are modular because some of you may already know these tools and you're like, oh, I have to sign up for a 5-week course, but I already know 2 of the 5 tools really well, and I don't really think I need to learn it. I get that. So I decided to make it modular, but with an incentive for you to level it up and take that course, the whole package, because there's consistency of community. I have a Facebook group for you guys to meet in and chat. You can start your own WhatsApp groups if you want to really connect with each other. And there's also consistency of the content building on each other. But yes, you can do it in a standalone mode. So I'm just going to show you the website just to show you it's not the final version. The enrollment cart won't open to the public until later on, I think about April the 10th. And if you're on the early bird discount, that's a different story. That was a sign up option. Let's show you the actual picture of this website that I mocked up for, getting the basics down. So I'm on my Lunatic Astrology website. Divine Timing Masterclass, enrollment doors open, April, and the date is coming. And a 5-week deep dive into ancient predictive timing tools. So you're going to get a weekly live Q&A call with me that you can come to, and you're going to get a private Facebook group. And I may put a Discord group up there as well. I'm not good at running them, but I have a fellow colleague who will maybe do that for me. And all the content is available for replay. And we start May the 2nd. And so here's what I want to say. Remember, the checklist I'm going to be giving you. I thought I wrote it in here, the FAQ, but it is like, if you don't know how to recognize a planetary glyph yet, you don't know the meanings of the 12 houses, you don't know rulerships, Venus rules, 2 signs, Libra and Taurus, and she's exalted in the sign of Pisces, then you're probably not ready for this class at all. And here are the actual module. So, planetary decades, and it's about your unique timing. It's a very cool tool. And I learned this years ago from Austin Kopek, and I use it in my own life just as a guidepost, but it's unique to your own natal chart and in the order of the planets in your chart in zodiacal order. So it's a really simple, but fun, but accurate timing tool for your life. The next one is Sphedaria, which is a very powerful time map. It's a little bit like Sphedaria, the Dasha system in India, where you have a Mahadasha and an Antardasha, meaning that Vedic astrology tool gives you certain years and windows of time, certain ages, and when there's one planetary power ruler over you. Like I just finished a long run through my moon Mahadasha, and now I'm in my Mars Mahadasha in the Vedic system. This is Sphedaria. It's a similar idea. It's an ancient Hellenistic timing tool. It's extremely enlightening, and it depends on whether you're born in the day and the night. And then we have solar arc times. I call it God's clock. This is my favorite tool. I've been using it for years, and I can't wait to teach that to you because I've got some insider hacks from a lot of experience over 7 years and thousands of clients about the best way to use God's clock. And you also have zodiacal releasing, karmic turning points using a lot of eros, a lot of love, and a lot of fortune. And this is a very powerful Hellenistic tool, and it definitely works. I've taught a class on it already, but I'm putting my guest teacher expert, Kaylee Michelle, in here. She taught this as an extra advanced module in my last Sky Reader, and she was really loved, and she's really good at giving you worksheets to do this and really learn it. And so I am so happy to have her sharing her wisdom for the 3rd week's class, my guest teacher, Kaylee. And then distributions through the bounds. These are your life's chapters. They're extremely, very useful. I remember Kamala Harris was out of the running for the Democratic Party. She dropped out of the race to be nominated at the convention, and everyone was tossing her out the door. And I looked at her zodiacal releasing back in the first election with Joe Biden back then, not the second election, the Joe Biden one where she became vice president. And I said, oh my God, no, she's going to be okay. And no one understood why, because I'm like, she's going to go to power here. How could she go to power when she got knocked out of the race for the presidency and Joe Biden took over the lead? Well, she became his vice president pick. So this kind of thing works. I did it with I have a fellow astrologer who was having a reading for me back then when I was first learning this tool from Ben Dykes back in the pandemic era. And I said, you're going to write like lots of books in this window of time. Now she's written 3 or 4 astrology books. And it was all in using the distributions through the bounds tool, which I'll be teaching. And lastly, we have bonus courses for self-study. So this is if you are literally going to take the whole bundle and you want to be there for all classes or just have them at your disposal for future reference. I love that I'm going to give you the annual advanced perfection tool video from a class I've already taught live, my solar return masterclass, and my natal progressed lunations course as well. Those are replays of 2-hour courses I've taught before with supporting documentation and slides. It's about a value of $99, $33 each. You get that because you want to sign up for the bundle. So I'm trying to incentivize people to sign up for all of the videos. All the information you're going to need in order to sign up for my class and to get enrolled for that class, and enrollment carts will open to the general public around the 9th of April. I'm using an auspicious election for that, for the early bird discount people who got on the wait list for that class, and there's a few hundred of you. I will be sending you the email. If you're listening to this video and you're not on the early bird discount wait list, then you can find the link to that wait list in this video underneath this video. Otherwise, if you're catching this later after the April 10th, 9th, 10th, then the information to enroll and the link to enroll is under this video. So I'm excited. To me, astrology is the tool that I use like I breathe. You know what I mean? I shower, I brush my teeth because I live and breathe it. But it's also a way to connect to the divine wisdom that's operating through my life. Because I can say, oh, no wonder I hit a wall last week, Sun, Saturn conjunct in Aries, and I'm an Aries sun and I hit a wall, and I can understand that wall, this too shall pass, right? That wall has a lesson for me and then it's over. I can anticipate things. I can work with them and not resist them. And then I can extract the deeper lessons of what I am experiencing because it's happening for a reason. So astrology to me is like how to know the mind of God. And that's one of the reasons I think I call this a divine timing masterclass, because we're looking at understanding the will of the divine in each of our lives by looking at the map of time in each of our lives. I hope that makes sense. I hope that's something that you can groove with, and we'll be getting that course going. And I'm excited in May to be teaching that to you. I'm moving in May, but I'm also teaching a class. That is what happens when you're in Aries with a Saturn Aquarius rising story going on, Saturn on the ascendant. You buck through anything, even a move in May, and I'll be sharing this class with you guys. I'm looking forward to it, actually. So come aboard. If you're not sure you're ready for the class, remember the checklist will be there for you. I think it was on the page. I didn't show it to you. Then no worries. You can always reach out to me by email. All my contact information is under all of my YouTube videos and stuff, and ask me to be more specific with your circumstance. The biggest risk you have is taking a class in astrology that is over your head. Then you continue to study astrology over the years and it's no longer over your head. And then you can use that class, you can go back and learn it. And I've had that happen to me where I've signed up when I was learning astrology for a course. It was too sophisticated for me. And then I went back later and I figured out, oh my God, now I understand what the teacher's teaching. So that's the worst case scenario is you jump on in and you're not quite ready. But hey, guys, you got to know the basics. So if you don't know the basics, it's not the class for you. I'll see you guys in the Divine Timing Masterclass in May 2026. I'm so looking forward to having you there and playing in the sandbox of divination together.